Hi everyone, welcome to John and Tris Chats.
So long story short there is exercise selection for rehab would maybe look very similar to the exercise selection for training, sometimes with a little bit more just eagle eye on one aspect of whatever your lowest hanging fruit is. In the gym you will see lots of different variations of split squats, and unless you know their intent and what they're trying to achieve with that exercise, you can't really judge what someone's doing. And I know all these Instagram accounts are funny gym exercises, which they're very funny, they make me chuckle, but you really don't, even if they look the most bizarre exercises, without knowing their intent and their goals, then you can still laugh. You definitely can still laugh, but yeah.
I think that's a good thing about our programme, is that it's quite evidently different but not stupid. Do you know what I mean? It kind of looks like you're trying to get
You're probably
something.
going to do a few novel things,
and
it's probably going to be coached in a different way to how you normally do those exercises.
Please continue.
Yeah, what we've gone through is that they're essentially saying that you can take normal exercise to try and give your body what it's not getting in your activity, and then the other half of your training really should be getting the things that you need to work well in your activity working really well.
Yeah.
Sometimes your activity prepares you well for getting the tissues moving well, coordinating well that you need to. Sometimes you need a little bit more intent and a little bit more kind of focus and breakdown in the gym. So for an example, what I would say there, so yeah, one half is kind of programmed, say if you're training, if you're a runner, trying to bring your central mass back a little bit, give you some kind of more glutes, open up the back of your hip, so on and so forth. And the other half might look a little bit more like, what do I stress a lot running? Say your soleus Achilles a lot. How does that function well? So we need stiffness in the Achilles across different directions. We need it to work well with the hamstrings in early stance of gaits when we're kind of decelerating flexion. So we need to maybe do some synergistic work between the soleus and the hamstring. Later on down, kind of toe off stage, as we propel ourselves forward, we need the Achilles to work really well with the glutes. So we need that kind of synergistic work there. So that's kind of how I really divvy training up, and what the kind of program looks like is that what are you not doing with running? What do we need a little bit more of to bring you back to centre? How can we get so efficient at doing what we do for a couple of reasons? To A, make you essentially more efficient with the performance element side of it, but B, make you more efficient with how you're loading your tissues to stop overload of a particular area.
And therefore potential pain or injury.
Yeah, make performance better, because normally they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then I guess that takes us on to point number 2. I guess it follows on quite nicely from that, and talking about exercise selection and rehab. And this was why I kind of thought about talking about this today, is because we've had a few comments on Instagram, like, you give me some more information on the program. I've got this injury, can I still do the program? And I guess a real pet hate of mine in the rehab world is when rehab solely looks like, oh, you're doing physio, and training looks like you're doing training. They are the same thing. Like, good movement quality is mitigation of pain and injury and overload. And therefore, yeah, there might be a couple of exercises you can tell, oh, that's for rehab's sake, but they should be finishing with exercises that look like training with those modifications to offload or get more efficient in certain areas. And therefore it is the same thing. And when I'm training someone, if you come to me, you're a runner and you're not in pain, or you come to me in pain, you're like, what I give you, your programming will look very similar. And I think the only slight tweak in programming is that we might need to start, if you're in pain, we might need to go after more elephant in the room kind of things. So if it is kind of pelvic position, we might just spend all of our time doing that before we feed it into a bigger picture. But even the exercises you get will look like performance-like exercises, but you might just have to modify and do a little bit more of them to get a bit of a change a bit quicker.
So somebody out there thinking, okay, I've got a little bit of pain, knee pain, ankle pain, whatever it is, thinking, okay, can I do the program? What would your recommendation be?
Not only do it, but do it and then be thankful when your pain's got better, and then you endorse it, share it on Instagram when your pain's got better.
Yeah, and that's the nice way that we split these programs out, right? Is that you've got the lower limb essentials aspect, which is perfect for those people that are at that level.
Yeah.
In terms of they might have a little bit of pain, they might be looking at a rehab aspect of their training,
Yeah.
but also those without pain and needing rehab and want training, because we've got an addition to that, which is the high level stuff. If you're an active athlete or...
And so that's the second thing to really think about is load. So if you're a little bit sensitive to load, the way we're putting these programs out is the lower limbs essential is getting you moving well, some strength work, but really you shouldn't be too sensitive. If you're in pain, you should be able to do it, and it should be able to help that. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the running performance side of things, which adds a little bit more load, looking at stiffness, a lot more plyometrics. And so you may say, oh, I want to run the lower limbs essential for 8 weeks, which should really help with your pain before you start putting in the heavier load, the heavier stress from the running performance side of things. Mm-hmm. So long story short there is exercise selection for rehab would maybe look very similar to the exercise selection for training, sometimes with a little bit more just eagle eye on one aspect of whatever your lowest hanging fruit is. But even if you don't know what your lowest hanging fruit is between your centre of mass, your mobility, your synergistic work, then covering all of them is never going to be a bad thing.
And if you want more direction on that, you can just see your performance essentials clinician, can't you?
You could do.
Trystan Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, a bit on programming?
Yeah, I think...
Are you programming? It looks like you're programming at the moment. Programming.